Hello to you from a very frigid Iceland. I'm halfway across the earth as a guest of Land Rover. They've called us here to show just how capable their new Discovery Sport is. It's a model that's going to replace the Freelander in India and it's coming in August. I'm going to tell you why it's going to be worth the wait. I'll get to the more everyday bits of the Discovery Sport in a bit. I just have to start with how the Discovery Sport is off-road. Well, at this time of the year, Iceland is pretty much all ice and snow. So most of the drive is off-road. Not that anyone complains. The Discovery Sport comes with 4-wheel drive and Land Rover's terrain response system that preps the car for different scenarios. It's grass, gravel, snow here, and boy does it work. Our drive starts at 9 AM, in the darkness, through a blizzard. But nothing stops the sport. Our convoy keeps rolling through it all. And mind you, many of us here haven't even driven in such conditions before. As we proceed, the snow gets thicker, but not once is the recovery Land Rover Defender summoned. The sport just keeps going on. Grip is excellent, and even on the few patches of ice, there are no incidents. It's quite the SUV for buyers who'd like to visit Spiti in the winters. But the drive has another bit to demonstrate the sport's ability to tackle our flooded monsoon roads as well. A river crossing. The Sport has an impressive 600mm wading depth and good approach, departure and ramp breakover angles. All of which come together to make the Sport come across as a proper amphibian. Trust me, from within the car, it seems a lot less dramatic than it looks from the outside. As the day progresses and we make it to tarmac roads, I get a chance to experience the Discovery Sport in more realistic conditions. At this point, I should tell you that the Discovery Sport for India will come with a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine that will be offered in 2 states of tune, 147 bhp and 187 bhp. So the Discovery Sport with us is the 187 bhp version. That will be the more powerful of the two. And well, it's not a very exciting engine, but I will call it pleasant. It's smooth, it's refined, it's very good when you're cruising and not really, pushing it. It doesn't have that punch which you would also get in some competitors' engines like say the X3. But it's nice, and it comes mated to a very nice 9-speed gearbox. I'm sure 9-speed sounds like a lot, but on the moves you really can't tell. It does a very good job on its own, and you really know of the additional ratios only when you want to downshift yourself through the pedals. When you find yourself in 9th at 100 and you have to go down a few gears when you really want to move forward quickly. On the whole, it's very nice. The engine is likable, but there's more to like about the Discovery Sport, especially from behind the wheel. In terms of handling as well, it's quite nice. Again, not the most exciting of cars to drive, but it more than gets the job done. It's got a very nice balance, it's poised, but if there's one thing that I really like about this car, it's the steering. It's direct and, well, can be quite sporty at times. Another aspect of the Sport that leaves a strong impression is ride quality. Given the conditions we were to drive in, Land Rover wisely chose to give the cars with studded tires, so I can't really tell you about the finer details of the ride. Obviously, that'll be a bit off. But what I can tell you, it's very nice. In a way, it's very balanced. It's got a nice poise through the corners, and even on the slight bumpy stretches which we have come across, it's taken them quite well. With the bulk of the driving out of the way, I finally give the Discovery Sport's design and interiors a more detailed look. Well, it may not have the show value of something like an Evoque, but it's smart, well proportioned and interesting. The Sport is 91mm longer than its predecessor and also sits on a wheelbase that's grown by 80mm. These increments and the incorporation of a compact multi-link rear suspension have allowed Land Rover to fit in a third row of seats. This gives the Sport a big advantage over its 5-seat competitors, but Land Rover is being cautious to call the Sport a 5+2 rather than a 7-seater, simply because space in the rear is only suited for kids. As for the rest of the cabin, it's neat with a long-lasting feel to everything. Angular cues dominate the dashboard, and once again it doesn't look revolutionary in any way, just very Land Rover. What does make a big difference though is the new touchscreen operated infotainment system. It's a big step up from the older system offered on the earlier Land Rovers. In the Discovery Sport, you sit at a nice height and correspondingly get a good view out. The front seats are comfortable, while middle row passengers get seats which are supportive and can be moved fore and aft to maximize legroom or free up knee room for the last row occupants. On the whole, it's a spacious and well-finished cabin in a very likable SUV. The Discovery Sport comes to India in August this year, and thanks to local assembly from the outset, will be priced close to its rivals with prices in the 42 to 50 lakh rupee range. For the money, you'll get a remarkably well-rounded SUV, something that the drive through Iceland has established rather clearly. It's also an SUV with a personality very distinct to its contemporaries. To many, the last bit alone should be reason enough to give the Discovery Sport serious consideration.